No eclipse glasses, no visit to high ground, no direct viewing of the sun, eerie streets and parks, stippled ground, parakeets. The partial eclipse was a memorable experience. I did not have eclipse glasses, nor did I make my way to high ground to view the partial eclipse. As it approached its maximum and then left it, I was walking home after work through Manchester's Hulme and Moss Side, then Alexandra Park and the tree-bustling streets of Whalley Range. The summer has been hot and the country experiencing the fifth heatwave of the year. In Greater Manchester, much of May and most of June, July and, so far, August have been predominantly sunny, rarely dropping much below 20 degrees Celsius during the day. The ground is hard and dusty, the grass brown, many bushes too appearing dead, so the world already seems unfamiliar, uncanny, suspended and waiting for something. Parks and what would normally be green spaces, as well as some pavements, had smatterings of individuals and groups stood or sat gazing at the sun through eclipse glasses. Others had their back to the sun and looked at it using the front-facing camera on their phone. Walking along Princess Road, the light was already dimming and cars and other vehicles had their headlights on. Though less pronounced than I remember from 1999, the light of the approaching false dusk was indefinably strange, almost unreal. Alexandra Park was full of people watching and waiting for the maximum extent of the eclipse. And here, out of the direct sun, I noticed unusual stippled light on the ground. It took me longer than it perhaps should have to realise that gaps between leaves in the trees arcing overhead were acting like pinholes. They were projecting multiple images of the partial eclipse on the paths and what remained of the grass. Meanwhile, the park's parakeets were clamouring and heading to roost, convinced that night was coming sooner than expected. Otherwise, everything was still, anticipating. Leaving the park, and under the shade of tree-lined streets, the stippling spread across road and pavement. The light continued to be unusual, distinct from but reminiscent in feeling to the unhealthy yellowish shade that accompanies some incipient storms. The temperature eased a little. And then, slowly, the maximum passed. The stippling changed and eventually ceased. The evening light came back. Normality, or as near to normality as this unprecedented summer allows, returned. I hadn't seen the eclipse, but I had seen the eclipse, a more indirect and weird version, one special in its own way.